Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. In today's video I will be creating this look for you. So this was actually a request from a subscriber. So I recently went to a event held by Glam Radar. If you haven't seen that video, I'll chuck it up in the cards for you now to check it out. But a lovely subscriber actually left a comment on that video asking me to recreate the look that I had on for that particular video, so I did decide to go ahead and do that for you guys today. So I really hope that you enjoy this video. If you'd like to see how I was able to go ahead and get this look, stay tuned. Okay, so the first step I'm sure will be no surprise to anybody, and that is that we're going to prime our eyes with the MAC paint pot in the shade Painterly. As you can see, this is a really well loved product of mine. I really do enjoy this eye primer. As you can see, I have sort of been neglecting my eyebrows lately, so I do have quite a fair amount of regrowth coming in. So I am actually going to use this to cover that up as well. I just haven't had time to go and get them waxed lately. So yeah, I'm just going to use it to cover that up as well as coat the rest of my eyes. Now you can go ahead and use your finger if you want to. I personally am just going to be using this concealer brush by Zoeva. It is the 142 concealer buffer brush for reference. And I'm just going to evenly place that all over my eyelid and just up across that brow bone just to cover those hairs. Okay, so to start this eye look off, what we're going to do is use the Single Shadow by Urban Decay in the colour Lounge. It's this beautiful greeny, duochromy sort of colour, and it has this beautiful orange warm base to it, which you'll see very soon when I place it on my eyes. So yeah, I really enjoy duochrome shadows. I think they are absolutely beautiful, and I think you can create some pretty unique looks out of them. So to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take my finger, and I haven't applied any other shadow to my eyelids at all. And I'll explain why in a moment. So we're just going to take a generous amount of this shade on our fingers, like so. So yeah, we're going to take a generous amount on our fingers like this, and then literally just start to work it across the eyelid. And as you can see already, that metallic-y green is just so beautiful. Love it so much. So just working it all the way to the inner corner, and what we're going to do now, still with using our finger, is we're really going to start to buff this out. And so basically just with tapping motions, we're going to sort of press the shadow and almost sort of drag it upwards into our crease. Now for me personally, because I am a little bit, I do have a bit of a hooded eye, so I am going to take this a little bit beyond where my natural crease line is. Just because otherwise it's, we'll lose it otherwise. So yeah, just gonna bring it up a little bit further above where my natural crease is, and then just out to the outer corner as well, just really well coating that eye. Now don't be too concerned if you get a bit of fallout like I have just here. We haven't done our foundation or our base yet for this exact reason, so we will be able to clean it up very shortly and make it look nice. Alright, so once you have that shadow down, I know it's looking a little bit crazy at the moment, but I promise it will all come together quite nicely. So once that's all down, what we're going to do is I'm going to jump into my Morphe x Jaclyn Hill Ring the Alarm palette. What I'm going to do to start off with is I'm going to use the shade Rush, which is this really lovely sort of orangey colour right here. So taking that just on a fairly fluffy brush, so I'm going to be using my Inglot 6SS brush for this. So just coating the brush fairly well. And what we're going to do is we're going to start slightly above where my natural crease is, and again that's just due to the fact that I do have hooded eyes. If you don't have hooded eyes, then you can pretty much just pop this right into your crease line. So the reason why I've chosen this colour is because I just want to warm it up a little bit and sort of start getting a little bit of dimension happening in the top part of this shadow. Now I want to warm this up even more, so what I'm going to do is taking a Morphe Y16 brush, so again quite a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to be jumping into the shade Alert, slightly deeper orange colour than Rush, and we're just going to very softly sort of finesse that into our crease that we're creating. Okay, so from there what we're going to do is taking the shade Secret, which is this one right here, and we're just going to pack that on a blending, Sigma blending brush E25, and I'm just going to place that on the outer corner, just with tapping motions. And the reason why I'm doing that is just to sort of create a little bit more depth to this look, and just get a little bit more definition in that corner. Okay, so from there what we're going to do is go back into our Urban Decay Lounge, and I'm just going to take that on a MAC 233 brush, and I'm going to coat it fairly well, and I'm then just going to spray the brush with, you can use water, you can use any setting spray you might have, that's fine. Today I'm just going to be using the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray Mist. So we're just going to get that brush nice and wet, and then we're going to place this on our lid and really concentrate where we want that green to pop. So as you can see, it transforms the shadow, it really does. It's just beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a pencil brush. The one that I'm going to use today is by Morphe, and it's the G27 pencil brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking Alert once again, so it's this really beautiful orangey shade right here. And we're just going to get a fairly decent coat on the brush. And what I'm going to do with this is, as you can see, I've kind of created myself a new crease. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stencil this really beautiful orangey colour right above where I've finished the lounge colour, or the lounge shadow. And that's just going to sort of really give it a little bit more emphasis as to where I want my new crease to be. So just very carefully stenciling that in. Now to blend that out, we're just going to jump back into Rush, which was the first colour out of the Ring the Alarm palette that we used. And so it's a little bit more of a lighter sort of orange. And we're just going to very, very softly finesse that through and just sort of buff out Alert that we've just placed, just so it all blends well together. I'm just going to quickly go ahead and do the other eye, and then I'll come back and we'll do our base. Okay, so with our face already primed with the Star Skin 7-in-1, what we're going to do now is just start off by placing our foundation. What are you doing? I'll show you, I'll see that all. So for everyone who might be wondering, this is my cat Basil. He likes to make himself at home, especially when I film. So what I'm going to use is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter foundation in the shade Cashew. Now usually Cashew I use when I'm a little bit, usually I use Cashew when I have a tan, of which I don't have today. So this might be slightly on the darker side for me. I feel like I've just used so much of it. I know they say like one pump and it covers your whole face, but I'm more of a 2-pump kind of person. I really, like if I'm going out at night, of which I am tonight, I really like it covered and not moving, especially when I have pimples to hide. All right, that should do for now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is just literally buff this in. To do that, I'm gonna use a damp beauty blender. Okay, so once you have that all blended in, I'm so not used to wearing full coverage foundation. Every time I look at myself with full coverage foundation on, I just, especially with when I haven't got anything else on, I don't know, I just feel a bit crazy, I don't know. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna go ahead and conceal, and to do that I'm gonna use the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light. So I'm just gonna use a fairly generous amount, just very carefully, you know, placing that where we've got the semi-wing happening for our eyes. Don't want to use it, like I don't want to take it too far up because it will naturally move that way when we blend it out with our beauty blender anyway. Now what I'm going to do as well, as you can see, I'm just going to bring this slightly down the nose because I just find that it helps when I contour my nose, which we'll do shortly. It just really helps to define the shape of my nose, and I find that I use less of like a contouring product when I do it this way. And we're gonna go ahead and just blend that out using a beauty blender. Same one as what we did to blend out the foundation. Okay, so once you have the concealer down, what we're going to do now is just go ahead and set all of that in. Now, to do that, I'm going to be using my Laura Mercier setting powder in the shade Translucent. Again, just taking the beauty blender and just applying that very generously under the eye. And what I do is I like to really press the powder in because I just find that it just gives, I mean, I do like to bake, don't get me wrong, but I just find that pressing it in first really does help the product sink into that concealer and really prevents it from creasing. So for me personally, I tend to find that I have, as I mentioned earlier, I have more drier skin than oily skin. However, my T section does typically get quite oily, so that's why I do like to use a fair amount of powder just to set everything in place and make sure nothing really is going to move. All right, so while that is all sinking in and settling into the skin, we're going to quickly go ahead and draw some brows in. Now, I'm quite fortunate in the sense that I do have fairly bushy brows, so I don't really find that I do too much to them. What I am going to do today is just sort of define them a little bit more, and to do that I'm going to be using the Signature Brow Precision Pencil by Kat Von D. It's this one here. It's quite good because it's got a little spoolie at the end. And yeah, so I'm just going to fill in a little bit where I feel like it needs it, and just bring that shape in all together. So now that that's done, what we're going to do is go ahead and set the rest of our face and wipe away any excess powder. So to do that, I'm actually going to use a different powder this time. So I'm going to use, this one's by Becca, and it is the Hydra Mist Set and Refresh Powder. So it looks something like this. And I really like the packaging because I do love that it's got this little seal here that you can open and close when you need, so your powder doesn't go everywhere, especially if you travel. Now, I personally love this powder. I think it is amazing. It is actually 50% water, which sounds really quite peculiar, but yeah, it is actually, it's one of its ingredients is literally 50% water. So when you dip your brush into it and apply it to the skin, you feel this it feels really cool and refreshing to the skin, and because I have dry skin, I really enjoy it for that exact reason. So just taking a big fluffy brush, powder brush, this one here I'm actually using, I've rubbed the name off it, I've used it that much. This one here is by It Cosmetics and it was an Ulta exclusive, so yeah, for anyone who's interested. And so once you have a decent amount on your brush, you're just gonna go ahead, and I like to press my powder in. That way I feel like it doesn't sort of take away any foundation that you've layered underneath it. And it just helps set everything in really nicely. So just going under the eyes, over the nose, just really soft buffing motions. It does, it feels so cool. You can just sort of feel it melting into your skin, and that's what I really, really like about it. Okay, so once you're happy with that, what we're gonna do is go ahead and bronze our face. And to do that, I like to use the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer. Looks something like this. Still smells like coconut. I absolutely love this bronzer. I think it's just divine. Now to do this, what I'm going to do is, rather than sort of do a harsh contour, I really just want to, you know, bronze and everything up. So to do that, I'm going to use the Benefit Huda bronzer brush. I really like this for bronzing. So just going to take a decent amount on the brush here, and then we're just going to sort of start working this just above our cheekbones and just sort of really buff that into the skin and work it in. It's such a beautiful color. I really love this bronzer. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to take it above my hairline as well, or into my hairline, just to bronze everything up and make me look less like Casper. Now, because this foundation is slightly different to my natural skin tone, I think it's slightly on the darker side. What I'm going to do is, still with the same bronzer, just very lightly tapping it off, and I'm just going to sort of work it down my neck. I kind of prefer this technique as opposed to, you know, getting a whole bunch of foundation on your neck. I just find that this is a much more natural way of sort of blending it, you know, your foundation into your neck all together and making it look quite seamless. That's just my personal preference. So for blush, what I'm going to do, where's my blush brush? Here it is. So I use the Morphe Y4 brush. I really like this brush for blush. It's, as you can see, it's quite angled, and I just find that you get a lot of control using it, and it just places everything really nicely, the product really nicely. So for the blush today, I'm actually going to go ahead and use the Revolution blush palette. This one here is in, oh, what's this one called? Blush Hot Spice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two blushes today. I'm just going to use these two right here and sort of mix them in. I really like this palette. I think it's beautiful. It's very pigmented, and yeah, I just think the quality is really lovely. All right, so moving on now, just to highlight, what we're going to do is we're going to use this amazing, beautiful palette by Ofra, and I'll just show it to you. It is stunning. Now, I've never used Ofra highlighters before, not until I purchased this one. So this is called the All Glowed Up palette. You have the large one right here is the Beverly Hills highlighter. You then have Star Island, I hope I'm doing this right, Star Island, Rodeo Drive, and Blissful over here. So yeah, the shades are absolutely stunning, and yeah, I really enjoy the quality of these highlighters, and I think the formula is just beautiful. So I'm going to stop yammering on and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So taking a Morphe Y14 brush, and we're just going to use, what one do I want to use?
A few moments later.
Rodeo Drive. So we're going to take this one here. Love it. It's glorious. All right, now we need to finish our eyes off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom you guys back in. Alrighty, so I just dropped it. Okay, so taking the pencil brush that we used earlier, for reference, it was the Morphe G27 brush, and just dipping back into Alert, which is that really warm orangey color. And we're just going to start to trace underneath our lash line, just to where your eyelashes, your bottom eyelashes finish. So not all the way to the center, just to where your eyelashes finish. Now, using the same brush, we're just going to dip into our Urban Decay Lounge. And once you have it fairly well coated, we are just going to straight away wet this brush. Now, once that's done, again, just tracing right where we placed that orange color. We just don't want to take it any further in than where our lashes finish. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to jump back into our Ofra palette, and we're just going to take Rodeo Drive again. I'm just using a small crease brush by, who is this by? Makeup Geek. And I'm just going to start to place that right between where our lash finishes and our inner corner begins. And we're also going to take that and just highlight our brow bone ever so slightly. So from here, you could just go ahead, chuck some mascara on and be on your way. But what I think I might do now is I think I might just add a little bit of some liner, and I think I might go ahead and also put some lashes on. Okay, so unfortunately, the video of me doing my liner and my lashes is corrupt, and I don't know why. So we're just going to randomly cut back to me putting on some lipstick and showing you guys the final look. So apologies, and I'll be sure to keep it in the next one. Okay, so to finish this look off, we are going to use the MAC lip liner in the shade, what is this one? Whirl. And I'm just going to ever so slightly overdraw them. Okay, and once you're happy with the shape, then what we're going to do is to fill it in. I'm going to use the new Color Rich Shine lipstick by, who is this by? L'Oreal? Yes. And this is in the shade 642. I absolutely love this shade. Now you could use this combination how it is and be good to go, but I want to add a little bit more to it, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Fenty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fenty Glow. So this was their original. And that is the look, guys. So yeah, that's how I was able to do it. I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me on today's video. As I mentioned in my last video, I have had a whole bunch of new subscribers recently, and I just wanted to say I really, really appreciate your support. You know, I thought it was so great that this was a subscriber request, so I really, really did enjoy filming this video for you today. Again, thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. And you can always follow me on Instagram at @raw_beauty. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.